Welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening. It is Friday. I know it has been a while since I've done a show. You're right. It's been a bit, been crazy busy. I'm sure you know I've been out there trying to make the world a better place. Man, it doesn't always work, but I am there, still doing it, trying to make things better, trying to hustle and make things happen. But I'm here with you tonight, and I thought I haven't done an AMA in a long time. Maybe it's about time. So I thought tonight would be more of an AMA, a bit more of an open conversation, if you will. And with that in mind, I wanted to bring up a couple of things that kind of I've been thinking about these last couple of days. Some of you may know I was recently at Freedom Fest, which is or was in Las Vegas. I think next year, I think it's in Memphis, Nashville. I think it's in Nashville next year, but I believe it's in Tennessee next year. But this year was in Las Vegas. I was there speaking, a couple of events, did a couple of interesting events there, which was great. Met some people. Was on stage with Andrew Yang. Probably, if you've been watching my social media, you've probably seen many of those clips that we posted. And the two things I want to bring up are actually in direct opposition. One is the recent violence that we've seen all over the place. And then two is the coalitions that I've been trying, often failing, to build. And the violent part I want to bring up. Some of you probably know recently, yesterday, the Republican who's running for governor here, someone accosted him and I think tried to stab him with a like a spiky defense keychain thing, try to stab him. And he pushed him off and the guy got arrested and then got released. And that's a bad thing, obviously. But what I didn't want to do, and my team was a little upset at me about this, and moving forward, they were a little upset, is I didn't want to do the I hope he's okay thing, or this kind of violence is not, there's no place for that in New York, or whatever the case may be. I didn't want to do that. And the reason why I didn't want to do that is I didn't want to be trite. I didn't want to just pander. I didn't think it was the right answer. I wanted to think how I actually felt. And what I felt was, which is what I actually tweeted, which some people didn't like, but I always try to be as transparent as I can, right? I try to be that whenever I possibly can. What I felt was, of course, that's what I felt. That's what I honestly felt. Of course it's going to happen. As people see no options, no choices, the same old thing, when people feel like they can't be heard or they're not going to be heard or they're incapable of being heard, with any of those things, they resort to violence. I am not excusing. There's a difference between excusing and explaining. Excusing means it's okay. It's clearly not okay. The guy's arrested. Clearly it's not okay. But I don't have to say that, right? And that was my point. Do I have to say that violence is not okay? And I feel like there's so much virtue signaling. Of course violence isn't okay. Why do I have to say that? It's never okay for someone to jump up and say, try to stab you. Of course it's a bad thing. There's no place for that in New York State. Literally, they were shooting people up in Buffalo. So stop. Of course that's New York State. We shove people in a subway to their death here in New York City. So stop that. There's no place, or we say no, or that garbage virtual signaling, which drives me crazy. The problem is, of course, our Democratic governor decided to just virtue signal, of course, which is what they always do. And the Republican takes advantage and goes on TV. And I thought, and nothing changes. You've reinforced everything. And now this fact, and the fact that no one's getting is, my team's like, don't you have empathy for the Republican? I do. I do. Don't get me wrong. I do. I just have more empathy for the millions of New Yorkers who feel so horrible, and he will do nothing to assist them, and he's pretending like he will. And my governor won't either. And they're using the fact that there is clearly a disturbed person whose life is probably now ruined, who thought the right answer was, let me go stab some guy. That too. And that guy probably has family who's going, my God, what's happened to our brother, father, uncle, nephew? What's happened to him too? I know it sounds weird, but we never seem to learn from the violence, and it just keeps getting worse, and we keep making it worse. So they're going to talk like they love each other now. And then next week, the Democrat is going to be saying how evil the Republican is and how horrible and when the existential threat it is, motivating the left to want to attack him because he's the evilest thing in the world. He's not. I'm not a fan, but he's not the evilest thing in the world. It's not true. And then the Republicans are going to go back to this, oh, Democrats are so evil. They all got about making the right want to put violence on the left. So they're going to talk their virtue signaling talk, get as much press as they can, and then go right back into other guy evil, which is what makes this happen. The violence is, you hear me talk all the time. This show is supposed to be about mutual respect. Literally, I talk about respect all the time. If you saw me at Freedom Fest, I was talking about human respect. Today, I'm talking about mutual respect, but it's all about respect. Why does that matter so much? And this goes to the coalition piece, which is the opposite of violence. Literally the opposite of violence. To have a coalition, I have to have some respect for some aspect of a person. And when I do my business coaching, and I often do a training, and I'm training a class of people or talking to people, and I say, look, there are many times when you want to keep your job, but you really don't like someone you have to work with. Happens all the time, right? And you're not in a spot where you can quit. I hope we're all in great places where we can just quit whenever we want and work whenever we want. That'd be nice. A lot of us aren't in that spot. So you're in a position to where you need to keep your job. You got to pay your bills, but you really hate somebody you got to work with. You don't like the person at all. And my advice is always the same thing. When you're going to go talk to the person, what people always go is, I'm just going to be professional. I won't say hi. That's dumb. That never works. It makes things worse. Passive aggressive behavior. Don't do that. It's a terrible idea. People always think they can do it. You can't. Nobody can. Instead, think about that person before you walk into that room or into that hall, wherever, into your office, whatever it is, and think to yourself, what is one thing about that person that I respect? One thing. There can be 15 you don't, but I just want to know, is there one thing? Is it a school they went to, a challenge they overcame, a place they came from, an accomplishment that they've done, any of those things, right? Is there one thing you can think of that you could respect? Whatever that thing is, maybe you respect that they used to be a single mom or they're a veteran, whatever you care about, right? I don't know whatever you care about, but whatever that thing is, you decide that the fact that she was a single mom, for 20 years, you respect that. Awesome. So then say to yourself, you know what? I don't like her. Man, I respect that aspect of her. That's a good thing. That part I respect. Okay. And then have the conversation. What will that mean? It'll mean you'll be a little bit better. Why? Because first comes disrespect. Then comes dehumanization. They go in order. And once you dehumanize somebody, you begin to come up with what I call the one-word story, which means you call them one word. They are liberal, conservative, progressive. Insert the word you don't like, right? Mean, nasty, stupid, whatever is the word you want. They become the one-word story. They're disrespected, dehumanized, and therefore whatever you do against them is okay, to include violence. One thing I try my best to do is not that. I don't want violence. I would like to not have violence. So do I attack individuals? All the time. All the time. But that's an individual that I may attack. And even that, and you guys remember this, when if you've been paying attention, when Cuomo first got in trouble, when my previous governor got in trouble for grabbing butts and whatever he was doing, what's the first thing I said? I actually shut up and I said, you know what? Give him due process. I hate the man. To this day, I still hate him. He's a bad person. And I still said he absolutely deserves due process. And they threw him out and he quit. Good. I'm glad he's gone. But even that man who I did not like at all and still don't like, I think he was a terrible governor and a bad human being, I still said, you know what? He deserves basic human respect as an American. Give him due process. I hope they got rid of him, and they did. I was not unhappy with him getting booted or him leaving. I'm not unhappy about that. But even he deserved it. Respect is key. If you have respect, violence will go down. I can never end violence. But the more respect you have for the person, the less you'll dehumanize them, the less you'll feel they're a crazy threat. Amount of people, my coalition piece. Some of you know I was on stage with Andrew Yang. It's a coalition. You might go, Andrew Yang, he's this, he's that. He probably is the things you're saying he is, but I will not call anyone from the Forward Party or any other party a one-word story. No, they're individual people with individual thoughts. And in the case of Andrew Yang, I respect what he's done also. And we agree on something. We agree that third parties are the answer. That this left-right paradigm is literally causing a deeper rift and helping us to move towards violence. We agree on that. We can have a coalition. Just respect. And we can disagree. And for those of you who noticed when we spoke on stage, we spoke only about the things we agreed upon. We didn't jump to conclusions and fight each other. We just spoke about what we agreed upon. To move forward on these issues makes total sense. Imagine if we do that again and again and again. Imagine if we wouldn't just go, well, she thinks it or he thinks it, therefore I must dehumanize them, disrespect them. I can't believe that. Maybe you do believe it. Maybe you can create a coalition. Coalitions matter. Respect matters. If you respect people, you can have a coalition with them, move forward on the issues you care about, and then fight on the issues you don't. But now it's issue-based fighting, not you-based fighting. Not that person is evil or all the people around them are evil or that group is evil. No, it's you're wrong on this issue, but we're right in this issue. Let's move together. This is how we change things, but we're not doing that. I had people got totally mad at me for hanging out with you. Oh, how can you? I had people literally on my Twitter say things like, you can't negotiate with the liberals. They're Americans. If you don't negotiate with them, then what happens? Now, if you're okay with then what happens, good for you. I don't know why you're watching. You want to go fight the fight, go fight the fight. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I like a country without violence. I think that's a good idea. I am moving towards it the best of my ability. That's what I'm trying to achieve. I hope that was clear what I was thinking and why I did what I did and why I said what I said. If you think this is interesting, do me a favor then, like, comment, and share. I say it all the time. I keep saying it. Why? Because it matters. If you are watching now and you like what I'm saying, click one of those buttons. Do it now. Click any of the, I don't care. Click that dislike button. I don't care. Click a button. Click any of the buttons you want to click. Click the whatever you want, whatever you're watching it on. You watch it on YouTube, you watch it on Facebook, you watch it on Twitter, whatever. Click a button. Damn it, click it. And if you can comment and share, please do that too. It does matter. It is important. So I hope that piece was clear. It does matter to me. If you want to support the show, of course, you can also head up to my Discord. There's a link right there. My Larry Sharpe Discord. Click over there so you can hang out with Discord. Always good for those of you who like Discord. Donate if you can to the campaign. That's awesome. We'll be going to court next week. Big day coming up here next week. That's awesome too. And of course, support our sponsor, the World's Smallest Food Quiz. Click that link right there. Head over to theadvocates.org. Take that quiz or send it to others and talk about how they feel and how you feel about the issues facing America today. That would be amazing. Let me grab some comments if I could. All righty, let's see here. Pete says, Larry is back again. Yes, I am. Yes, absolutely. Jay says, we missed you. I know it has been crazy out there, but we are trying to get a lot of stuff done, as you can imagine. James says, is there a full video of you and Andrew Yang out there? I'd love to see what you and he talked about. It's only about half an hour. It's not very long. We did a short event together, and then I was on stage. I actually did 3 events. I did an event with him talking about the duopoly and coalitions. I did an event about the future of liberty. That was with Kennedy and 2 others. I forgot who it was, but that's also out there too. I talked about coalition building, the future. I talked about blood sport, stuff like that. And then I did one which some of you may enjoy. TK Coleman put together a panel called, and we'll have a video for that too coming out here. 3 Black libertarian men walk into a bar. Yes, I thought that was kind of funny, but it was a good event. We recorded that too. All of that will be coming up here soon. Obviously Freedom Fest owns all of that stuff. So they'll be putting out as they see fit. And as they put it out, we'll be putting it out too, James. So thank you for that. I do appreciate it. Yes. So, Fatherful says he tried to stab someone and they got released. Yes, he did. That's how it works in New York State. Now, to be forward, I don't know this guy's background. If this was his first offense, I'm not that concerned about him being released. Again, I'm a proponent of first offense. That kind of stuff I'm okay with. However, there are some issues here. It's not like there isn't enough evidence that he did it. I mean, there's literally video of him doing it. I'm more open to allowing first offenders out if there isn't concrete evidence that the person did something. Right? This video of it. So he did something. I mean, maybe he's going to say, well, I was trying to shake his hand and found my keys. I mean, maybe he'll say something like that. Who knows? But the reality of it is there is some video. But if it's his first offense, I'm not that concerned. My whole thing about bail reform is focusing on first offenders. If he's done it before, then why did they release him? I have no idea. So I think that's the issue. We'll see. So anyway, let's see here. Red Vapes and the Advocate says, good evening, Larry Sharpe. I just signed a petition for 2 Libertarian candidates in my state, New Hampshire. Thank you. I mentioned your name to him and he knew who you were. I told him to sub to Larry Sharpe on YouTube. Thank you, my friend. Yes. And in the small world that is libertarians, I'm pretty well known within that small pond. So yes. Matt says, when are you coming back to Western New York? Soon. We are, again, I've been focusing heavily on my lawsuits against to throw me off the ballot. I will begin a new set of travel, probably beginning of August is when I'll begin a new set, and we'll have 3 hard months until November. So is it August? Yeah, 3 hard months of travel weekly to November. So yes, that's correct. So Tim says, well, politics is about power, and lots of people only think about power. Therefore, they lie and manipulate. You know, Tim, I get the desire to win. I have it too. It's not like I don't feel it. I have the same desires. Of course I do. But at one point, you got to say, how far can you bend? Which is one of the best arguments for term limits. Because I would assume, me included, you, any human being, the longer you stay in power, the more you think good you can do, and the more you would validate bad behavior, right? So the newer you are to this, I would assume, unless you're just a sociopath or something, that you probably don't want to bend. You don't want to think only about power. That's how I feel. But will I feel that way if I become governor 8 years from now? Maybe not, which is probably why term limits is good, because I might 8 years, if I win in November and then 8 years from now, I might be like, well, Tim, I'm a great governor. If I just, cheat here or cheat there, it's for the greater good. I might go there too. I hope I wouldn't. But in reality, I'm human. And no matter how far I might or might not go, I hope not far down that road. I hope. But regardless, the longer I stay in it, the further I'm going to go, as would anybody. So what you're saying right now is a great argument for term limits for everybody. The longer they stay, the longer. Yes. So yeah, absolutely. Rebecca says, how was Freedom Fest? Really wish I could have gone. By the way, Rebecca, I got your note. I will answer you. Yes, I will answer you. Yes. I thought Freedom Fest was great. And here's the reason why. I feel like it was one of the most open and diverse, is that a good word? Somebody got me off it. But diverse Freedom Fest we've had in a long time. We had people who were all over the map politically, people who were all over the map in every way, shape, or form, foreign countries, everything. And we were just talking. Again, Yang walked the floor. Clearly, there are a lot of people at Freedom Fest who would not agree with Yang on many issues. Nobody got mad. He got interviewed. We talked back and forth. It was great. Nobody was angry. They didn't try to cancel him on stage. Nobody booed him. Everybody was like, yeah, clapped, happy he was there. And I think that was common for all the people who were there. And there were people, who were like, educators, people who are hard right, objectivists, people who are more leaning left. There were people who were sex worker advocates and everything in between. But it was okay with it. So I felt like it was very good, Becca. That's what I felt. Yes. So Pete says just a day after announcing Biden has cancer, he tests positive for COVID. Yeah. Yeah. Look, the issue that we have with Biden and people are joking and teasing about we got to get rid of him. Remember, if he steps down, who comes in? As much as I may not be happy with Biden being a president, do I really want Harris as president? So I'm just saying that when where we're looking at what we are, maybe we should just hope that he's good for these next couple years. I'm just saying, yeah. While Biden is bad, I would think Harris would be actively terrible. Just like it's all burning to the ground. And maybe I'm wrong here, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I'm feeling. I feel like we're going to go from terrible to more on a horribleometer. I think Harris is higher on the horribleometer than Biden is. That's just my view. So you may disagree. Unless they do a switcheroo. I mean, there's always switcheroo. There's always a Harris, I don't know, has to quit because she has to spend more time with her family or whatever, or wants to become, I don't know, run a nonprofit or something. Whatever. She has to go do something, right? Whatever. So she quits. And then they put in somebody else, right? Whatever. They select somebody else, whoever. I mean, they love Buttigieg now, right? Or whatever. Whoever is the cool kid on that side of the block, they put that person right in, whoever that person is, and then Biden steps down. I could see that at least. So yes, I can see that. Anyway. So of course, Pete, 30 trillion, 532 billion, 29,905,442.16 national debt. Let's not forget that, because you know what? Has nothing to do with inflation at all. The Fed is perfect. The Fed's helping us now. You know I'm lying. You know I'm lying. Yes. So Peter says, I'll bet $100 Lizelle bullet Jesse Smollett. That's not fair. I mean, it could be true. Who knows? But look, if you're him, do you gamble that much? I don't. Maybe, Peter, but I doubt it. I mean, that's that. If that actually comes out as true, oh my God, he'd be laughed off the stage. I mean, that's a big gamble, right? If he did that, that's a huge gamble. I can't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. Brennan says, is the race for governor over yet? Not till November 8th. That is when it will be over. Yes. Father Full says, virtue signaling when there are issues that were made clear by these events. Virtue signaling when there are issues that are made clear. Yes, correct. Yes. John says, as a libertarian, I believe don't infringe on my rights. I won't infringe on yours means no violence towards others. Yes. Absolutely. Correct. Right? Yes, absolutely. So, Kevin says, what we need is to get the National Guard into the streets for foot patrol. Oh my God, I don't want that, Kevin. What I would rather do is motivate local communities to have community patrols. Better, right? Better. Not that I want people having patrols. I want us to have a safe society, but I have to pick between soldiers coming into the streets or local people in the streets. I would rather have local people if I have to choose, right? I don't want either of those. Obviously, I'd like us to have a safe, polite society. That would be better. But if I have to pick between the two, if I must, local people's better. If that makes any sense. Neither is perfect. But do I really want to see the idea of armed people? I remember after 9/11, the Army and the National Guard was all over New York City, right? In all of the train stations and all those stations. And I hated it. It reminded me of how broken we are. It reminds us of how weak we are. It reminds me of all these things. And now they don't go away. It's been over 20 years. If you go to Grand Central Station, you'll still see National Guard. And the worst part is you'll see them in Grand Central Station and they've got M16s. If you know anything about firearms in Grand Central Station, why would you want an M16? Probably one of the worst weapons to have in Grand Central Station. Granite, marble, ricochets everywhere. You got to engage close quarters when the weapon's made to engage at 300 meters. But they have it because be scared. I think that's it. So, yes. All right. Let's see here. Let's see. John says that would just give government more control of taking more of rights. See, yeah, exactly. Yes, I'm with you on that one. Absolutely, yes. Patty says after every violent act, everyone sits around and sings "Kumbaya," and then goes back to arguing, screaming, and backstabbing. Pat, that's exactly my point. You are correct. The issue here is I don't want that. What I want is for us to actually start talking, communicating, changing how we communicate, creating systems to where we have a conduit, right? That's the issue. I want to have a conduit, right? And we don't have one right now. Think about this. What if all of a sudden some Democrats want to start talking to some Republicans? The second they start, it's, oh my God, why are you talking to those people? Look at you, you're evil. And that's either side to the other. But if there's a conduit, if there's that third party that you can now, that's the bridge builder, right? And some people are going to think I'm crazy when I say this, but libertarians are the peacemakers, literally. So now Democrats want to talk to Republicans, Republicans want to talk to Democrats. They can't talk to each other. So they use a third party as an intermediary so that we can talk together. What's wrong with that? It's a great idea. I'm not talking to crazy Democrats. I'm talking libertarians. I'm not talking to crazy Republicans. I'm talking libertarians. Oh, are they crazy too? Maybe. And even if they think we're crazy, they don't hate us. So they're crazy, but we don't hate them. We hate the other guys because we've been told for decades that the other side's evil and you can't talk to them and you can't negotiate with them and they got to be destroyed and fought. Changed everything. I completely agree. Yes. So Paula says, as governor, how would you respond to immigrants being sent to New York from Texas? Yeah, Paula, great question. We should not be sending undocumented workers anywhere. We should be finding an answer to document our workers at the border. What I've been talking about forever, right? My whole idea of having Ellis Islands on the border. This is the whole reason why I have it, right? What should be happening, and I've said 1,000 times, I'll keep saying it. We should have two privatized private companies who run two Ellis Islands on the border. If you want to come to our country, great. Go to one of those Ellis Islands. They will keep you in quarantine, whatever is the appropriate time to quarantine. I don't know what that is. Sake of argument, 14 days, but whatever that time is, they'll do their background check on you, make sure you're okay, you're safe, whatever the case may be. If you get past the screening, whatever the screening is, every state that opts in, states can opt in. You don't want to take immigrants, don't take them. You want to opt into the plan, and they'll send you to a worker to a business there. The business just opts in, and it's just like recruiters, right? There's a model for this already. Recruiting companies right now to this day make their money on doing this. So let two recruiting companies have two of them, and as people come in, they go to work. Your state doesn't want it, don't opt in. Your state wants it, opt in. I would opt in as governor. Yes, if there are businesses that would like workers, get them legally documented from the Ellis Islands. All good. What's the problem with that, right? As long as we're not paying, taxpayers aren't paying, the businesses would pay. And right now, businesses are paying thousands, if not millions of dollars into the black market to get workers already. Well, stop playing the black market. Make it regular. But Larry, there are bad guys. Right. The bad guys won't go to the Ellis Islands because they'll get caught, which means now our border patrol can do its job. And while it's out there looking for people, it's not going to waste his time on people who want to come into work. It'll only be getting bad guys, which is what I want. Note, every time I talk about law enforcement, I talk about getting law enforcement to go after bad guys. That's the point. We create that system. Now, Border Patrol is going after bad guys because bad guys won't go to the Ellis Islands. We can get the traffickers and all the other bad guys, right? Focus only on them. Way more efficient, less expensive. And now states that want it, opt in, and you get your workers if you want them. No problem. But now they are documented, right? You follow the same rules. DACA had a lot of problems, but DACA had a couple of good things to it. The good parts of DACA were, one, you only got 2 years. You got 2 years, and you got to check in. If you don't check in, gone. Got to every 2 years. And you can take no public assistance. If you take any public assistance, you're gone. So no public assistance, right? And checking every 2 years. Now, Larry, what about citizenship? What about permanent status? Whatever. No, this is just an orange card. That's all it is. You want a green card? Great. We'll find an answer for this private company to follow the rules that the state wants to follow, the government wants to follow, for someone to get a green card. They'll pay for it not us as taxpayers, and they'll go through a system. It's a separate system from the other system, so no one's cut off, no one's is stepped in from the line or whatever the case may be. The people, the workers have to pay this company to get their green card in whatever way, whatever, 5 years, 10 years, whatever is the rules. You put the rules together, and even citizenship. Do they want citizens? Or whatever, 10, 20 years, they have to learn English or pass a test. You have them follow the rules that we want them to follow. The private company gets paid. The people pay them to do it. Boom. Separate system. In fact, it'll become so good, they'll make more of them. They'll put one on the Canadian border. They'll put one in New York City. They'll put one in LA. They'll put them all over the place. And now people who now are undocumented right now in America, there's at least 10 million, if not more, undocumented right now in America. They'll go to those places and they'll get documented. Now, not immediately, but many of them will. And when they do, they will make law enforcement's job again easier. Why? There are a lot of bad guys who come across the border. We know this. That's a fact. But the bad guys are sitting in these little enclaves of their ethnic background, right? Some ethnic background enclave. And most of the people in that enclave are undocumented. So they can't go to the cops. So they can be blackmailed. They can't help the cops, nothing. What happens when a bunch of them start getting documented? And they're actual workers. They come back, they document, they're paying the taxes, not on public assistance, they're working. Now they're legal. So now when bad Pablo, there's a good Pablo too, but when there's bad Pablo, when bad Pablo is the bad guy and the cops go, where the hell's bad Pablo? Right now they go, I don't know, when they run away. But when they're documented, they go, oh, he's over there, go get him. The cops can get the bad guys because the people in the enclave are no longer afraid and they can point to the bad guys. Oh, there he is, go get him. So now cops can now clean up the bad guys who are here. The undocumented that are here will begin to get documented over time. It's a longer term solution, but it's a solution. The people on the border can go after the bad guys while the good guys come in, and states can opt in or opt out if you want to. But now they're documented. Changes everything. You can have vibrant immigration, safe immigration, and still retain your borders. This can happen. I bring it up all the time. You could do it. They don't want to do it. So I don't want undocumented workers being sent to New York at all. No, of course I'd fight it. I tell them, document them as I'm telling you, then we'll opt in and we'll have businesses request workers, and then the business can get the workers. What's wrong with that? Right now, they just take the workers anyway. Everyone's documented, all kind of problems. No. Pay your taxes, do everything the right way. We're good. And again, if your state doesn't want them, don't take them. I think it's silly. That's my opinion. But I'm not going to force you to take workers. If you don't want them, don't take them. Up to you. I hope I answered that question, Paul. So, yes. Let's see here. Sandy says, I love New York, but as a 33-plus year business owner, we're exhausted. Yes. This state's so beautifully diverse, and it's been my home for 50 years, but it's ran by clowns who couldn't care less. Sandy, I wish you were wrong. I feel the same way. I feel the same way. I am in my 50s now, and I've been in New York for a long time. I'm born in Manhattan, raised in the Bronx, and I'm then on Long Island. And I've been here in Queens now 22, 23 years here in Queens. Before that, I was on Long Island, Suffolk County. So yeah, I'm with you. I just don't want to leave yet. I feel like we got a chance. I feel like this is our time. That's what I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think we'll find out. So yes. All right. Michael says the thing about the left and the right is their team is always evil. They do nothing, yet they get in over and over again because the two major parties said so. Yes, they got elected because the media said so. It's a good point, right? The point I keep saying is that as long as the other guy's evil, whatever you do to stop them is okay. And vote for me, at least I'm not them, right? So I know I killed a guy, but he killed 3 guys. So yeah, that's the issue. I completely agree. So pieces of you moving upstate. We are considering it. I'm just being forward, Pete. My wife and I are considering it. It's difficult in New York City. It really is. And my oldest daughter is heading off to college. My youngest one is going into high school soon. So we're thinking now might be a time to make a shift. So we are considering it, Pete. But no, nothing has been decided yet. I'm not leaving until after the election, no matter what, right? So maybe I'm moving to Albany. So yeah, so I don't actually know. So we are considering is what I'm saying. I don't have an answer yet. So yes. Andrew says, yeah, when it came public that quote mob abused some people, I sided and said, I leave it to the courts to apply the appropriate verdict. Yeah, Andrew, see, that's the piece, right? I even him You deserve due process. That's it. And it worked, and I'm happy. Due process matters. We all deserve it, even if we screw up. Yes, you get, even if you're a bad guy or bad gal, you still deserve, because you're human, you're an American, you deserve due process. Either way, even bad guys, you get your due process. And then we move on. That's it. So yes. So Pete says, in a two-party system, no one has to address anything. People are irrelevant. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Paula says, I could work with Andrew Yang easier than I could Zeldin or Hochul. Ooh, Paula, interesting concept. You know, I think you're right. You made me think for a second, like, is it easier? Part of me initially went to, no, I'd rather work with an establishment person because they would know how to get things done. That's what my head initially went to. Like, would it be better to work with a Zeldin or a Hochul because they're establishment, so they would know like how to do things. And I think there's value to institutional knowledge, if you get my point, Paul, right? There's some value to institutional knowledge. However, I would rather have the institutional knowledge on the team than as leaders. So I think we get both, right? Would I like to have, say, Zeldin's team or Hochul's team who knows how the machine works, along with a Yang who is going to think differently at least and be open to new ideas? I think that's where I'd want to go. I agree with you. As I think through it, I still want, here's an example I'll give you, Paul, and why I thought this. Whether you're more left or more right, if you look at the last 4 presidents or so, give or take, right? Bush, Clinton, Trump, Obama. Don't count Biden. Trump, Obama, not Trump and Obama. Bush and Clinton, whether you liked them or not, they were able to push their agenda a whole lot easier in the first term. Both Obama and Trump struggled the first couple years in the first term, and then they got things going afterwards, right? So third, fourth year when they started getting stuff done. Why? Bush and Clinton, again, Democrat, Republican, both of them had been governors before. They were establishment. They knew how things worked, what could move, what can't move. They knew already, right? Bush was governor of Texas and Clinton was governor of Arkansas. Obama and Trump, neither were governors. They didn't know how the system worked. And when they got in, everyone around them said, oh, you got to do this, got to do this, got to do that, and turned them all. At the end, both of them pushed. Trump pushed his agenda harder at the end than he did early on, and Obama too, because the system was against him. So that is why I was thinking, ooh, do I need someone who knows the system so I can get stuff done? That's why I was thinking that, just so you get where my head was. So I would like them, I think, in the staff, the support staff. That would be maybe more important in that regard. Maybe. So Pete says, why do you think the government doesn't really care about the inflation crisis? Because they can't admit the actual problem, and they can't fix it. The actual fixing is really punishment for all of us. There's still more punishment, but they also have to accept responsibility and realize the system's broken. The Fed system is destined to fail. The question is when. It's just destined to fail. It's not sustainable. We see that already. So am I going to sit here and go, oh, Pete, by the way, this whole 100 years, yeah, all a lie, all garbage, destined to fail, just a massive way to get the wealthy to become wealthier, just a massive way to create military industrial complex, prison industrial complex, just a massive way to fund wars for, 100 years. That's what this really the whole thing was about, was that. Really, you're going to say that? You're going to admit that? And sadly, I'm going to argue something that people might think I'm crazy. Most of these people don't even know that it's true. You would be surprised how many people who are in charge, our leaders, yes, I'm doing air quotes, are actually just airheads or empty suits and actually have no idea how stuff works. Just none. I tell this story often. In the past, when I was able to do more training, some of my leadership courses and classes were with city agencies here in New York City. And one day, this is several years ago, I'm in a class. And if you can imagine this class, there's about 20, 25 people in the class. Youngest is probably 30, oldest is probably 60, all educated, all credentialed professionals who work for the city, one of the agencies. I don't want to say which one, but one of them. And they know who I am and what I do, but we don't talk about politics unless it's during a break, and they ask. So during one of the breaks, some guy's talking, and one of the guys says, "Man, I'm so glad we had the Fed." Pete, don't drop that on me. Just a story. Don't drop that on me. It's a story. Don't fall out of your chair. So he says, "I'm so glad we have the Fed. They saved us during the crash." That's what he says. My head exploded, but I said nothing. This is how I get paid, make my money, right? It's my company, so I get paid. So I shut my mouth, nothing. I just looked down on my phone. And he finally looks at me and goes, "Right, Larry?" And I was like, "See, now you messed up. You shouldn't have said anything." I was going to keep my mouth shut. So all I said to them was, "You guys know that the Fed is basically just a banking cartel, right? So series of banks is all it really is." All of them. No, that's not true. It's part of the government. Blah, 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 blah. All of them say that. No. You have your phone? Look it up. They Google it. Oh my God. Yeah, they didn't know. Adults between 30 and 60 in the largest city in the country, working for that city, all educated, all credentialed, didn't know. A bunch of people don't know. So do you really want to explain that? I don't know. Am I saying it? Is it Kara? Carrie? Is that right? Carrie. Hope I'm getting it right. Carrie. Are you finding it easier to create coalitions with the left or the right? I'm definitely better with the left, but I think that's partially from living in a blue state. I gotta tell you, right, when it comes to coalitions, the right is far more open to talking to me. The left is more open to ignoring me. As a general rule, the left tends to ignore me, dismiss me, disrespect me. The right disrespects me too, but the left is dismissive is a better word. The left's very dismissive. Don't respond, ignore me, walk away, laugh, that kind of thing. The right can be more aggressive, like, "What are you doing? You're so stupid. Don't do that." The right is more aggressive in that regard, which means I talk easier to the right. But when I get someone from the left to come to me, yes, coalition. So the right is much more of a temporary. Oh, the right will jump on. Oh, you're on Second Amendment? Me and you. They jump on board. Boom, I got them. We're good. Let's do Second Amendment. All good. Let's do smaller government. Let's taxes. Boom, jump on board. They got you. Let's do this. Then they go back. Right? The left, when it comes, stays, but rarely comes, if that makes any sense. And that's kind of how the Libertarian Party tends to be. It's easier for us in the liberty movement to get people from the right to come to us. However, it's also easier for them to go back. And it happens often. They join us for a bit, then go back to being Republican, go back to being conservative. They don't stay. They do, but many of them will go back. It's rarer for people from the left to come to the Libertarian Party, but when they come, man, they stay. They're like, "I'm in," right? I'm in. So I think that's what I found. I find less people from the left talking to me, but when they do, they're more open to do long-term things, where the right is much more transactional. Easier to come, but more transactional. That's only my experience, Carrie, only my experience. I don't know. I have no data to say that's true for anybody else. That is only my personal experience. So there we go. Patty says, I was a Bernie supporter. Yep. My neighbor was for Trump. Yep. We've had great conversations on what we agree on. Thank you, Patty. Yes. We're becoming good friends. We listen and share and are civil and actually like each other. Look at that. Yes. Here is the common thread between Bernie supporters and Trump supporters. You might go, what? There's a common thread? There is. There's actually one with Yang too. It's a common thread. All three of those people are seen as rebels, as people who are against the system, right? Why do you think that after Bernie was cheated in 2016 for the Democrats, a chunk of Bernie supporters became Trump supporters? Because those people happened to lean left and not lean right, but they wanted a rebel. And if you leaned left in 2016, Bernie was your rebel. Yeah, he's against, Hillary Clinton, whether you like her or not, is clearly establishment. She's the poster child for establishment. So people were like, no, I'm going Bernie. When Bernie got cheated, they went, I want a rebel. Looked around, Trump was a rebel. They went to Trump. So I think there is a common thread in the idea of I don't want the establishment. And if I lean right, I was going to go Trump. If I lean left, I'm going to go Bernie. If I only have one of them, I go to whichever one of them. And sometimes even that's Yang sometimes. You find people who are just upset and angry and don't know what, and just go, well, Yang, I was that guy 20, 30 years ago. 40, 30, 40 years ago, maybe even. I mean, I was the guy who thought Perot was going to save us, or, Nader will take care of us. I believed that Nader was going to do something. Why? Not because I knew Nader's plans. He wasn't the establishment. That's my guy. I couldn't have told you any of his policies. I still don't know them, but it didn't matter to me. I was upset. I didn't like the establishment. Nader was not establishment. I'm a Nader guy. I literally voted for Nader twice. I know, sounds dumb, but I did. I'm telling the truth. I did. So that's how that works. Anyway, Brennan says, I love Yang and I'm libertarian. There we go. Yes, absolutely. James goes, I agree with building coalitions with other third parties. After all, our founding fathers didn't agree on everything, but they were able to put their differences aside to build our country. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. So the fish smell says, okay, crazy idea to reduce black market pistols in Rochester, New York. Facilitate a pipeline smuggling pistols into Toronto. Well, that's something. It makes handguns more expensive because they're getting bought up and shipped out. All right. I'm not saying that you're wrong. You're probably right. That actually makes sense to me. Yes. However, just because it's expensive doesn't mean people won't buy it. In fact, sometimes as it gets expensive, people will spend more, which means more time, money, energy in getting them. So just because you're raising the prices of guns, remember, this is black market. It doesn't mean people won't do it, right? If you raise the price of food, people still need food. If you raise the price of pistols, if it's a black market, people still need pistols and guns in the black market. I would argue, Fishmel, that instead we would end the black market. If you end the black market, there's no need for the pistols anymore. Well, besides the black market pistols, these people who are buying pistols because they want to buy a pistol, right? But you wouldn't need a black market pistol anymore. So I'm about end the black market and make it easier for people to get pistols. So there'll be less illegal pistols because there'll be more legal gun owners. So I hear you. I think my method is better. That's just my view, right? It's my view. I do want to make it happen. And I brought up in my radio show this week earlier, right? We've made it harder to get a pistol now, a permit now in New York State. Harder, because that'll work. If you like what I'm saying, guys, please comment, please share, please click those buttons. It does matter. Share this out as best as you can. This is being out on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. It's all over the place. So it's pushed out on like 7 different platforms. So Vimeo, it's all over. Roku, this is everywhere. So get it out as much as you possibly can. And if you want to join our Discord, please do that. The link's right there. Go to our Discord, Larry Sharpe Discord. Please go there, click that link, join up. We'd love to have you. If you want to support the show, then support our sponsor, the world's smallest political quiz. There's a link right there. Go over to theadvocates.org, share that link, take the test if you haven't already. And there's a ton of other small tests there. There's tests on how you think about, policing. What do you think about the drug war? What do you think about all those things? There's tons of tests there. What do you think about, media and what the media is doing? There's a bunch of small tests there. Take it. It's fun. Share them out there. You supporting the show. They're our sponsor. Please do that if you can. If you want to support me directly, LarrySharpe.com/donate. And if you want a cool shirt, you can get one. Right there, Larry Sharpe for governor. LarrySharpe.com/shop. Grab some more comments if I can. So let's see here. Derek says, Larry, do you see New York honoring out-of-state gun permits? 100% no. Would I like them to? Yes. We've just made it harder, Derek. We're making it harder. Remember, the goal of most people who are anti-gun isn't to go into your house and grab guns. When they say that they're honest. They know that would be a disaster. They don't want to go into your house and grab the guns. What they want to do is make almost all the guns illegal, right? They want to make everybody who's a gun owner by default a felon. Then, whenever you get into trouble, then they take it, right? That's the goal. The goal is attrition. And every time, if you ever see it, whenever someone has a firearm, and they have, and I make this up, but you'll know what I'm talking about, right? So you have 2 pistols. You were in the Marine Corps like me, and the 2 pistols you trained on were the 9mm Beretta, 1911, 45. So you have one of each. and 500 rounds for each of them. So 1,000 rounds. So that's what you have. And then they go in and you do something bad. You get a speeding ticket or you get arrested for something, whatever. And then they check it out. Oh, you got firearms. We've decided that the accessory that you put on your Beretta is illegal. We've decided this piece of plastic is illegal. Now you're a felon, and they take your guns. You're already locked up, so you can't defend yourself because you're already in jail. They take all your stuff, and they tell the press, crazy guy Derek, he had an arsenal of weapons, a cache of semi-automatic weapons, which is technically correct. Those are 2 semi-automatic weapons. So, but they won't go to pistols. They'll say he had a cache of semi-automatic weapons and over 1,000 rounds. Oh my God. Derek's ready to destroy the world. That's what they'll say. And so now other people think everybody's crazy who has them. This is a long term, right? They are slowly chipping away at this. And sadly, it is working, which is why I keep saying guns are a cultural issue. We've got to break the culture of fear and the culture of them more than anything else. I hope I answered your question. So, yes. Rhonda says, Larry, I agree with what you're saying. I always say government needs to do more to give merge. I'm not sure what that is. I want to know your views on food stamps. I feel like they are not what they should be. Yeah, right. The issue, if you notice, a lot of people talking about UBI. That is a big thing and giving out more and more money. And it's constant. The reality of it is, do I want government giving out money? No, of course I don't. I'm also realistic. Government's going to bail people out and bail things out. It does. I wish it wouldn't, but it does. If you're going to bail out things, instead of giving money to cronies and businesses, if you're going to give money, give it right to the people. Let the people just spend the money and pay the taxes and move forward and just move. If you're going to, right? If my option is government's going to give money directly to the people, just take the money around and go spend it. At least the economy gets moving. We'll do something. I mean, if I'm going to put money into the economy, do that. We don't. We give it to cronies. So I would just give the money away then if I'm going to give money away. Second, if I'm going to have any type of public assistance, I would do it in the form of a negative income tax or what I call the GIB, the graduate income boost. It's based upon income, monthly income, and a stipend you get. And as you make more money, you lose some of your stipend. It's basically 2 to 1. So you can work your way up to a flat dollar amount to once you have that amount of money, you don't need any more assistance, right? It's not required. So instead of me giving you a rent stipend or a food stipend and another this, no. A flat thing, you report your income, the money comes in every month. That's it. That's it. Done. The concept of UBI, the idea behind it, again, I'm going to be very clear. This is only theory when I'm talking about UBI. Only theory. Don't have heart attacks, guys. The reason why people thought UBI would be a good idea wasn't because they wanted to give out money. That wasn't the initial reason. The initial concept was, if we have a UBI, for those who don't know UBI, it's Universal Basic Income. The reason we have a UBI is you would get rid of all other forms of public assistance. There'd be no food stamps, there'd be no Social Security, no disability, nothing. And you end all of those bureaucracies, right? That was the concept. You just give people a bunch of money every month, all the bureaucracies go away. And so it'd be easier, safer, cheaper. We actually save money. In theory, I understand that. I do. I get the theory behind it. And if we were able to do all those things, fine. You wouldn't need so many things. That'd be great. But I think everybody watching, you, Rhonda, you know, that's never going to happen, right? In a fantasy world of unicorns and leprechauns, let's do UBI then. We don't live in that world. In our world, what's going to happen is they're going to add UBI onto everything else. It's going to be another separate bureaucracy. It's just going to make things worse. It's just more handouts. It's going to be a disaster, right? It's not going to work. So I understand the theory, and the theory's solid. I mean, it's good theory. You'd have to, I don't know, reboot everything. If you could reboot the country in some way, I would be open to the idea of it, right? If you could reboot the country. I don't see how that works. I in today's world, I can't see how it works. I see it will just be another add-on, more money, more Fed money. Pete will scream at the screen when he sees it. The debt will be 40 trillion. So I would rather have By the way, what is a negative income tax? What is the GIB? The graduate income boost is you pick a number. I picked the number 18,000, but there may be a different number. $18,000 per year. If you make 18,000, that's how much money you get. For every dollar you make, you lose 50 cents of your income, of your money coming from the state, right? So as you make more money, your stipend goes down. Once you hit 36,000, no more stipend. You just have $36,000. Once you're making $36,000 per adult in your household, you shouldn't require food stamps. Now, if we do, we have a different problem. Change other things or raise or change that money, but that's the concept. What that means is people making over a certain amount don't get a check. I'm not giving Bill Gates and Elon Musk a check every month, right? Why would I? I'm only giving people who are hurt. So that's the concept, right? That's the idea behind it. So I would rather have one thing if I'm going to have it. That'd be better. And I also don't want people being tracked on what they're spending their money on. And I don't want to tell people what to spend the money on. Right? I don't want to say, here's food stamps, spend it on food. I want to say, here's money. Live your life. And here's an incentive to make more. Here's a leg up to make more. Here's an incentive to grow yourself. That's what I'd rather do. So, and also in this case, incentive to have children, incentive to start a business, incentives no matter what. I like those ideas because that would even support, in theory, a business owner, a small business owner who's starting a business. They could actually rely on the GIB to survive while they're building a business out. So also could work, right? So all those things could work well. I hope that's clear, Rhonda. So yes. Let's see here. Fatherful says we definitely need more prominent libertarian candidates. You got one right now that no one seems to care about. The libertarians are not jumping up and down, and I'm the most prominent one this year, without question. Most popular one this year running, without question. I can't get libertarian media to give me any attention whatsoever. They don't care at all. They're like, let's go look at other stuff. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't see it. Why don't you get mad at them? Tell them to put me on more of the shows. That'd be nice. So yes. So, all right. Let's see here. Brendan says legalize all drugs. All right, let me touch that one. Do I want to legalize all drugs? Of course I want to. Can we right now? No. We can't get our president to take cannabis off Schedule 1. Are you right? Yes. Can we do it? No. Can we move to cannabis first? Yes. Let's walk down that road one step at a time. I know some of my libertarians get mad at me. No, you have to go for full decriminalization. You have to. I would love that. I'm not like I'm against what you're saying. I'm saying if I'm playing activist, I should yell legalize all drugs. If I'm a candidate, I have to have an actual answer that can work in my state, in my nation, in my city, in my county, wherever I'm running. The right answer in New York State is decriminalize cannabis first. See how that works. Check out the world from that. Start pardoning people, getting people back out. Decriminalize to the point where it's regulated like onions, as I say all the time. Then move forward after that year or two later and see what's going on. See if the world is okay with it. See what's happening, right? And then move on. That, I think, is the only realistic way to make it happen. I just don't see the all drug thing happening in New York State for sure. We still arrest people for weed still in this state. I don't know why, but we still do it. So yes, that's my point. So yes. All right. First offender out with strong restrictions. First offender is not bad. This is not the end of the world. It isn't the end of the world, right? I mean, look, can we make mistakes? Yes. Right. I understand why a judge would want to keep somebody in, right? Because they're worried about them doing things. I agree. But if you want to give somebody a chance, it's a first offender. And let it go. First offender. It's okay. The odds of him doing something bad again are slim. Might he? Yes. But you're a 3 or 4 time offender. You've proven you keep doing stuff. You're literally a career criminal. Why are they out? It makes no sense. So that's my view. I know some of you might disagree, but that's where my head is. So yes. Kevin says, you are 100% correct, sir. Thank you. Vilifying the opposition does not win hearts and minds. Yes, and we have to. Yes, and we have to. Absolutely. Yes. All right, let me see if I can keep going. You guys give me a lot of, I appreciate it. Yes. Chip says, will you be making stops in Saratoga County? If yes, when? Of course I will. Absolutely, I will. Again, we will be talking next month in August on what our schedule will be. Yes. So, Alexander says, we need more libertarians here in California. I can't even get a hold of my local county LP. See, there's the issue, Alexander. You're right. And I'm always about building out infrastructure. For those who don't know, in New York State, we have 62 counties. When I first ran, in 2018, we only had about 15 or so county affiliates. So out of 62 counties, only 15 had a county affiliate. Now about 30 do. So we're better. But still, half the counties in New York State don't even have an LP affiliate. California's bigger than us. It's hard, Alexander. We got to keep working. People have to volunteer. People have to jump on board. It's not easy, right? It is not easy. Yes. Oh, this is a question about guns. But if you did become governor of New York, would you try to remove all the gun laws that the magazine bans, or the ones that try to actually restrict rights to own them? Yes. I've already spoken about that. I have a first step plan, then a second step plan, then a third step plan. The first plan encompasses three things: universal transportation laws, which we do not have in New York State. If you bring your legally owned firearm into New York City, you are going to jail. That has to stop. Number one. Number two, we also don't have good laws when it comes to self-defense. So one of the things we have is, if you use your firearm to try to stop a crime in New York State, you are going to jail. So I want to make it very simple that if you use your firearm in an attempt to stop a crime, that is not a crime. Right now it is. I want it to not be a crime. You don't go to jail because you brandish to try to stop a crime. Now, if you shoot somebody or hurt somebody, then that depends on what happens, obviously, right? Are you trying to stop a crime? Did you make a mistake? Whatever. But because you drew your pistol in an attempt to stop a crime, that should not be a crime. In New York State, it is. So you want to make sure that you're doing that part first, and then making a maximum, New York State, a maximum of 90 days for any permit. Maximum, not minimum. Maximum 90 days of any permit. There are parts of New York State where it takes 2 years to get a permit. So maximum 90 days. And New York turns to a shall issue state from a may issue state, right? So that means if they don't give you an answer within 90 days, it's yours. You get the permit. That's phase one. Phase two is non-enforcement of the SAFE Act, so that we can then repeal the SAFE Act. You've got to have at least a year or two of that, and then you have enough people who go, yeah, you know what? We can repeal the SAFE Act. Repeal the SAFE Act. Then the next step is actually being able to have a state that's actually not so anti-2A, right? So that's the three phases. That makes any sense. So yes, but again, I'm being realistic. Would I like to just go, New York State's pro-gun? It's not the state. And some of you don't like it. And some of you who live upstate go, yes, it is. It is not. All the data is in. Most New Yorkers to this day still want stricter gun laws. This is a cultural issue. I will be a governor who will make a cultural issue and move the culture to be more pro 2A. So that's what I'm talking about. I hope that was clear at least. So yes. So let's see here. Red Vapes and an advocate says, who got stabbed? I haven't heard anything as far as the media. So either it did not meet the criteria to get on CNN, MSNBC, or Fox, or it happened after the cutoff time, but probably the former. No, it was on Fox. The Republican governor candidate here in New York, there was a guy who jumped on stage and had like a keychain sticky thing, and wanted to stab him with the keychain sticky thing. Almost got stabbed with a keychain. Not a knife. It was a keychain. And he didn't stab him, and the guy was arrested, and he was released. So yeah, it wasn't even a knife. It was a keychain that had spiky things on it. That's what it was. And that happened, and that's it. So yes. So Mike says, Larry, you are a great libertarian communicator. In my opinion, Dave Smith is as well. We're going to team me up with him as in the same ticket. I'll leave it to you who would be the top of the ticket. Well, there'll be four with you. I like Dave. I have no problem with Dave at all. I think he's great. We were, for those of you who care, you can check out the PBD podcast. That's as in Patrick Bet David podcast. We're on that podcast together with Spike Cohen, all three of us. I think it went very well. He spent most of the time doing what he does best, which is talking about much more philosophy and concepts behind it, principles. And I talk policy, which is what I'm good at, right? So we tag team very well. I thought we did well. I hope you guys would agree, but I thought we did well on that. So yeah, I like Dave. What I want for a presidential candidate is someone who's popular. I would take Dave Smith, or anyone else is popular. My view is, Mike, Dave is young. with a young family. Now, I have no inside knowledge here. This is only my opinion. So take it for whatever you want. I could see Dave saying, you know what? Let me wait a couple years. He may not. He may jump on board right away. But I'm thinking if I was in his shoes, I would probably say, you know what? Let me keep doing my thing for a while. Let me raise my kids. He's still young. He's in his 30s. So he could wait a little bit and then run again. My gut says he'll do that. But we'll see what happens. I'm not mad if he does. Good, run. That's fine. As long as you have someone who's popular. I don't want to be top of the ticket in 2024. I've said it before. I don't want to do it. I didn't want to do it in 2020. People thought I was lying. Of course, you'll run in 2020. No, this is not a vanity thing for me. I don't need vanity. I have a show with my name on it. I got enough vanity. I'm good. I don't want. It's not a vanity run for me. I run when I think I can make impact. This run has been sucking me dry of time, energy, and money. I'm not going to be ready to run in 2024. I'm just not. 2028, maybe. 2032, maybe. These are all maybes. 2024, I don't want top of the ticket. Would I take bottom of the ticket? Yeah, that's support staff. I would happily support our nominee. If our nominee wants me, if Dave wants me, or whoever that person is, yeah, I would happily take a VP slot as I've taken in the past. I don't mind taking a support staff role, but no top of the ticket for me. 2024 for sure. We'll see if Dave does it. I don't think he will. That's my personal opinion. I have no inside knowledge. I think he's going to say, you know what? I got a young family. Give me a couple years before I do that. That's my view. So, but whoever is top of our ticket in 2024, I want to be somebody popular. I can't think of any active libertarian right now who's more popular than Dave Smith. If we could find one, I would consider it. But I'm trying to think who's more popular than him right now. There's people who are libertarian but aren't active who are more popular. I was seeing people like Drew Carey, I see it all the time, Vince Vaughn, Kurt Russell. These are all libertarians, but they're not active at all. So if any of them were to come in, I would happily take any of them. If they decide, hey, this is my year, I want to come in, I would take any of those. They're all libertarians. They're not active. Yeah, maybe. I hope that's helpful. I hope that answers your question. So, all righty here. Keep going down a couple more. Keith says, Biden had almost 50 years in D.C. He had clout in D.C. Harris has no political power in D.C. It would grind to a standstill. That may not be a bad thing, Keith. That may not be a bad thing. Yeah. That may not be a bad thing. Real Name Hidden says, Hochul should be investigated about inciting self-attacker. It's the July 21st committee. Ooh, you like that one? July 21st committee. Yes. All right. Let's see here. Philip says, what do you think about adapting the nuclear power trains used by the Navy to generate power on closed army bases? Look, I'm open to nuclear power, period. I think it's the right answer. However, here's my however in this one, Phil. I would rather not use old technology. That's the reality of it. If we're going to go nuclear, I would like us to go Gen 4. I don't want to use any old technology. Old technology is scary. People already sat. I mean, go new technology. It's much safer, much better. If we're going to go nuclear, I would rather go Gen 4. So I'm pro nuclear energy, but I don't think any of the nuclear power trains are Gen 4. I mean, if there are, I'd like to hear. I don't think any of them are. So yes, but no, if that makes any sense. 100%. Yes. All right. Julian says, do you have any opinions on the newly elected Texas Congresswoman Mayra Flores? Yeah, I think that we will know if she's as good as she says she is in November, right? The issue I have is this was a special election where many people didn't vote. So I actually don't know if that is a ongoing victory. In November, if she wins, yes, she is a force to be reckoned with. If she goes away, she was a blip. So I actually don't know. I think we'll find out in November. I hope that's not a cop-out. That's what I actually feel. That was a blip, right? We'll see. In November, maybe it's not. Maybe she's hardcore and changing things. So yes. Morgan says, are we talking visas or citizenship? Yes, I'm sorry for that. I was talking about the idea of having a special orange card. So it's a work visa. That's all it is. It's a 2-year work visa. That's all it is. Not citizenship. Would there be a way to get there? Sure. You could have a way. We'd come up with whatever the plan is, right? Is it a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a 20-year plan, whatever it is? But it would also be run by that private company. Therefore, anyone else who's going through the normal way is not affected, right? And it's paid for by the individual, right? They're working. Well, pay for citizenship then. You pay for it. Government's not paying for it. Your taxes aren't paying for it. It's a separate system. Here's what I would argue, Morgan. If it's done well, people actually leave the state system, the government system, and they'll start going, literally, just go to Ellis Islands. There'll be someone who flew in from like Poland, and he'll be like, I'm not going to this. I'm going to go to Ellis Island. There'll be an Ellis Island in New York City, and they'll go to that one. And they'll pay the fees, and they'll go through that style. Was that 1 year, 10 years, 20 years, whatever. I mean, we could have control, and they would have to follow the same rules that the federal government has, because the federal government, in the long run, is going to be granting citizenship or green cards or whatever the case may be. All they grant, are authorized to grant, will be a work visa, assuming they pass X number of whatever, background checks, whatever the case may be. We'd go down that road. But the advantage is that actually be accountability. When the government screws up and some guy gets to your neighborhood and stabs somebody, does the government pay? No, you pay. But what if this company is starting to put criminals in and they're failing background checks? The company loses the contract. The people can get punished. You can sue the company. You can put some of the people actually in jail, criminal charges if there's actually crimes, and then you get another company in. So much better system, what I'm talking about. Much better. So yes. All right. Sean says, will Larry be on the ballot? They're trying to throw me off. We'll know next week. I'm being sued. So yes. Alexander says, how's your Bitcoin doing, Larry? I got to tell you, I'm not a good Bitcoin guy. Why? Do I own Bitcoin? Yes, I do. But I don't use Bitcoin to buy anything. And I know some of you crypto people are mad at me for that. I'm just being forward. It's an investment for me. I just bought it and I just keep it. And I'm hoping it becomes $1 bazillion, and then I'll sell it off and I'll, like, I don't know, buy 3 houses or something. I don't know, whatever. So I hope that'll happen. I just have a bunch of it, and it's sitting at, are we in Coinbase? Maybe I forgot even what I'm in. I think I'm in Coinbase. I think whatever. I'm in one of the popular ones. I don't remember which one I'm in. I just bought a bunch and it just sits there. So I don't know. I never check it. Right. It's one day it's going to make a bunch of, money, and I'm going to see it on Twitter. My team's going to say, Larry, you made 100,000. Oh, I think I'm going to sell some Bitcoin then. That's going to happen. So that's how I deal with Bitcoin. And Alexander goes on to say, smash that like button, beat the algorithm. Yes, do that. He's right. He's right. If you want to hit that like button, comment, share. I'm reading comments. I'm talking to you this evening. We're doing an AMA. I'm taking all questions. Comment then. Say something. Share it. I would like you to. Please do that. If you want to support the show, it's very simple to support the show. All you have to do is go to the World's Smallest Political Quiz, that link right there. Take the quiz or post that quiz someplace else so that other people will go. They're our sponsor. They want people to go to take the World's Smallest Political Quiz. That makes them happy. That makes me happy. I agree. So you want to help me out? It's free. Click on that like button. That's free. Sharing? That's free. Sharing that link? That's free. And you help with the show. So please do that if you can. But not just if you do want to help me directly, there's a couple ways you can. One of them is free also. Join the Larry Sharpe Discord. There's the button right there. Do that. Heading over there. Join Discord. Or donate directly if you want to. LarrySharpe.com/donate. Every little bit counts. We are trying to move forward. I have lawsuits coming up. Lawyers are not free, as you can imagine. Nor is campaigning. And I got to start traveling again in August. Gas is not free. In fact, gas is really expensive. So yes, all that's going to cost money. I got to get more shirts out. I got to get more signs out, all that stuff. But you might say, Larry, I want a shirt. I want a sign. You can go to LarrySharpe.com/shop and get yourself a sign, get yourself a shirt. You can do it right now. Cool shirt like I have on right now if you want to. Absolutely. Hold on. Can you see it there? See if I can get my banner up. There we go. Cool shirt right here. Up to you. You can do it. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. So let's see here. If I can grab down here. All right. Gotta grab a couple more. Like a lot of these. I appreciate that. Yes, it's a lot of these. All right. James says, wait, wouldn't ending the Fed just increase inflation as people would just print money themselves? No, just because you end the Fed doesn't mean that people get to print their own money. It doesn't mean to do that. In theory, we can. It's called crypto. So people can kind of make their own money. They're kind of already doing it. And the question is, how well is that at going? Right? Generally speaking, money, even if it is not fiat, people have to believe in the money, right? So most people throughout time have believed in gold. That's why gold tends to be a good form of currency, because most people believe in gold. But if you didn't value gold, there was an old Twilight Zone episode. I forgot when it was. 60s, maybe 60s. I assume that Twilight was 50s and 60s, right? 60s, where these guys, they think they're super smart. So what they do is they go rob a bank, right, with a bunch of gold, and then they go into a cave, and they go into a like a, not a time machine. They go into some animation, so they can sit in time for X amount of years until the statute of limitations runs out. So they go steal a bunch of gold, go to this place, and then to say, I'll just stay here for whatever, 20 years, I forgot what it is, whatever, 20 years. We'll stay here for 20 years, and then the statute of limitations run out, so we can now take the gold and spend it, and gold will be worth even more. Win, win, win. So they go do this. And then when they get out, the whole thing is the gold no longer has value because they figure out how to make it, synthetically. Twilight Zone always is a twist, right? So the twist is, it's useless. We make it synthetically. So if no one valued gold wouldn't be valuable. So I don't think you don't automatically decide, forget about, everyone will just make their own money. I don't think that's true. The government, in theory, will still make dollars, but it will be worth or based on something else, not just based upon money machine go burr. So, but the other part, do I want to just end the Fed? I don't. I agree with you. If you just end the Fed and that's all you do, there would be a lot of disruption, a lot of chaos. I would like a plan to dismantle a Fed, right? It's like going bankrupt. You have a plan to go bankrupt. You have a plan to dismantle things. I think we want to have a plan so people see it coming, know what's coming. We can act accordingly. I think if we just end it tomorrow, I think we wouldn't know what to do with ourselves. I think we'd have a lot of problems and disruption. I would much rather have a plan to end it. This is why I often will talk about auditing the Fed, so that people can see what a problem is and go, wait a minute, this is bad. This is bad. So I would like a plan to do so. I want it to go away. I would like a plan. It doesn't be 10 years. It could be as little as a year or two, but something to where people see what's happening. What are we going to be using as money? How is money going to be thought about, right? What's the value of it? I don't want to run the banks. I don't want all the things that could happen with chaos if we just ended the Fed. So yes. All right. Brian says, the most basic tenet should be that one can be as progressive or conservative as one wishes, as long as they don't advocate for using the government to force others to act that way. How could I possibly disagree with that, Brian? You're absolutely correct. Yes. So yes. All right. See if I can go here. Let's see. Lights 473 says, we used to use gold for money because it wasn't easy. Yes, it wasn't easy to create. That's correct. That was my whole joke, right? Yes, you're correct. My whole joke about that Twilight Zone episode, and of course it's a fantasy sci-fi show, is that in the future we can just make gold synthetically. I don't know if that's ever going to be true, but in that show they could, and then gold had no value because everybody could make it. So yes, absolutely. That's what the whole show was about. So, all righty. All right. See, do you think Justin Amash will run for president? Yeah, I don't know. I don't see an aggressiveness to him to doing that, but maybe. I don't know. I'm not against Amash running either. If he wants to run, awesome. Hope it's great if he runs. No worries at all. I'd like somebody as popular as possible. I think popularity matters. Right now, there is someone running. His name is Mike Termat. Termaat. He is running right now. If you go to his website, check him out. Mike Termat. Sorry, Maat. If you check him out, he is running right now. So we do have a libertarian who's already trying to run and get stuff going. That's great. If he's the most popular guy in 2024, I'm behind him. I want someone who's popular. I want this party to get some gold on the map in 2024. I don't care what it is, just some gold on the map. So yes. So William's on my side. He says Bitcoin is not a buying thing. It's like gold. You store wealth in it. Use Ethereum more like cash. There we go. See, I'm not so crazy. That's what I was saying, right? That's what I see. So you kind of see the same way I'm thinking. Yes. So James says, this election is the most important election of my lifetime. Yeah, I heard that before. People say that, and every time they've been wrong. I would tell them only tell me that if there's a third party or independent running. I agree, right? And this is the piece that I will bring up. There's a lot of people giving me hate. They're saying, Larry, you can't win. You're going to split the vote, blah, blah, blah. I hear it all the time. I'm going to be very clear for any of you Republicans in New York State who are running. If you're a Republican outside of New York State, I don't know what your situation is. Maybe you have good situations. I don't know. If you're a Republican in New York State, you are being lied to right to your face. They're asking you for money, taking your money, and they will do nothing with it. How do I know that? They've been doing it for 20 years. I'm not joking. For 20 years, Republicans in New York State have been lying to you, telling you if you give them money, this will be our year. This is the time. That is a lie, and they know it. I'm very clear. It's a lie, and they know it. I know it. They know it. I see data. I do polling. So do they. They do far more polling than I do, right? I mean, by leaps and bounds. They do at least 5 times more polling than I do. At least, if not 10 times, 20 times more polling than I do. Tons more polling than I do. They know this state is solidly blue. They will tell you, well, I've won in purple districts before. This state's not purple. This state is deep blue. 3-1 Democrat to Republican. With if depending on who you talk to, there are people who are saying, a lot of real estate people are telling me 1,000 people a day are leaving New York State. 1,000 a day. Now, is that true? I don't know. That's what they're saying in real estate world. Who knows if that's true? If it's 100 a day, I don't care. It's a lot a day. They're leaving, whatever that number is, right? If we're losing that many people, most of those people aren't happy with Democrats. Those are anti-Democrat voters. They're leaving, which means there's no one here to vote for someone who's not Democrat, right? Unless your name is Larry Sharpe. Why? Because Larry Sharpe gets Democrats to vote for him. I know that. It already happened. The data is in. Again, I do polling too. Over 25% of the people who support me are registered Democrats. Imagine if the amount of time, money, and energy that they are throwing away on the Republican right now was put into my campaign. Literally, I'd win the governorship. I'm not making that up. There's no hyperbole there. The Republican has been spending about is going to spend like $10 million, $12 million. He's going to spend $12 million. If I could spend $12 million in this race, I would be the next governor. There's no way they could stop me. I'm not even joking with that. I'd be the next governor. They don't see it. They don't want to They don't want a coalition. They want to stay in control. If they actually cared about the state, they would have backed me already. I'm the same guy from 5 years ago. I'm the only guy still here from 4 years ago. Everyone else is gone. I'm the only one still here. And guess what? 4 years from now, I'll be the only guy here again. I'll be the only guy here again. Maybe then they'll learn. I doubt it. They'll just lie to you again. This is the year. They're lying to you. Well, lie. What armament is he giving you? I'm going across the state and talking the talk that needs to be heard, right? I'm the one that's actually sitting there fighting for stuff to change, not them. They're not. I'm still here. So yes. All right. Jamie says, why should we donate if you maybe keep up the ballot next week? It's a great question because it doesn't mean I'm not running anymore. That's why, Jamie. Even if I am, and I don't think I will. I feel comfortable that I'll be on the ballot. But you never know. I mean, there's always a chance some judge decides we're throwing you off. You never know. It doesn't mean, first off, even if I get kicked off next week, doesn't mean we won't fight again and have another lawsuit. So we still might win the second lawsuit. That would be the 6th lawsuit. I'm sorry. The 6th lawsuit. We might win the 6th lawsuit. So we still might win again. Doesn't mean I don't stop running. Right? Literally, I could do a writing campaign. I only need 130,000 votes to get ballot access for the party. And imagine if I did that, what a powerful vote that would be. Oh my God. So either way you should, right? Because doesn't mean I'm stopping. I'm not going to run, but the odds, I feel comfortable. I mean, you never know. Judges do whatever judges do. I wish I had magic powers and I could make the judge do what I want him to do. I can't. It's possible to throw me off. It's possible. I don't think so. So this is why. you should. Does that make sense? That is why you should. And where else you going to put your money, Jamie? Some Republican Democrats not going to help? Put it into me. At least you know I'll still be here. How do you know? Because I'm still here. I have a track record. Their track record is, I'll tell you I'm going to win. I'll take your money. Then you'll never see me again. That's their track record. 20 years long. That's theirs. So yes. Dave says, I had that. Oh, you have the episode. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. Do you happen the name of that episode? I see if I can find it, Dave. If you let me know if you happen to know the name of that one. I love that one. Yes. Morgan says, want to talk about perceived value? Talk about diamonds. Morgan, perfect example, right? It's valued because we say it is, right? And this goes back to the most important thing. When I was a kid, and a little bit as an adult, but mostly as a kid, I loved baseball cards. In the 70s, the 80s, I had all the Yankee baseball cards, and they were valuable. I was trading comic books. I loved comic books. I had all the Avengers, loved Marvel. I had some DC, but I was heavily into Marvel comics back in the day, and we traded them, and they were valuable because we thought they were valuable. The actual value of the actual material in the comic book was what, a couple of cents, maybe, right? The paper and the ink, that's all it was. But we saw value in those things, a lot of value. So yeah. And if you value it, you pay for it. You didn't value it, you don't pay for it. People value diamonds. They pay for them. I don't see much value in diamonds myself personally, but I know people do value them. So there we go. So anyway, thanks for that. So if I can keep going down here if I can. Ken, how are you, brother? U.S. currency backed by unicorn farts, fairy dust. But the most important piece you brought up, and the strength of the U.S. military. Bingo. Yes, absolutely. Yes. The lunar eclipse. How are you? So glad to see you. Larry, bottom line is both sides need to tone down rhetoric. Yes. Oh my God, you are correct. Please don't let, lower the temperature in the political climate. Please don't let oligarchs smear, break your spirit. They'll censor sounds and even disappear you. You know, the funny thing is, the issue that people don't get is that when you're a third party like me, the attacks don't work, which is why I can win. I'm not joking. The attacks don't work. If you start attacking me and calling me names and such, all that happens is my engagement increases. So more people will see me. More people will know who I am. And I don't hide who I am. In fact, I have my policies on my website. I talk about things I want to do constantly. I answer questions like this openly. The more people who talk to me, the better off I am. It's a win for me. Oh, Larry's this evil thing. Great, you talking about me. Good. Give me whatever you want. Yell at me. Call me names. All good. I don't mind. I openly take somebody from the press says, I'm going to talk to you. I go, okay, we're going to do a smear campaign. Okay, done. I don't mind. I'll take it. I'll take an attack in a smear campaign just as long as I get out there 100%. So yes. So that's good. Morgan goes on, similar message with Bernie in New York, false promises and a quick exit. That's why the left is gravitating towards libertarianism. F the system. You know, there is, that's funny. There are people on the left, and some of you may know Vosh. I was on his show before, Vaush. He calls himself a libertarian socialist. So, hearing that, I hear that more and more. So I feel like the word is being connected more and more to just being not the two-party system, which may not be a bad thing in the long run. I mean, it's odd connected that way right now, but I'm saying in the long run, Morgan, that may not be a bad thing, that the word isn't connected only with the right, which often is connected only with the right. If we start connecting with just third party, that may not be a bad connotation. I mean, we'd have to fix it, obviously, in conversation, but I can't fix it if I don't talk to you. So maybe that's the piece. Maybe. Jordan says, people are staunchly committed to the duopoly. If it meant you and other libertarians in office, would you support abolishing political parties so that candidates had to be judged and elected on their own? See, my worry about this, Jordan, is if I abolish political parties, then I'm not allowing you to associate with whom you want to associate with, right? That's the argument against open primaries. And the reason why I am for open primaries, even though I'm going against that, is because the system gerrymanders districts to where there's no real choice, right? If you were to end gerrymandering, I'd be okay getting rid of open primaries. But I want open primaries because we're not getting rid of gerrymandering. The Supreme Court dropped the ball and didn't try to fix it. So we just keep gerrymandering. And if we keep gerrymandering, I mean, in New York, in my own city, 6-1 Democrat to Republican. If you're not a Democrat, you don't get a say in your government. We need open primaries so that people can have a say in their government. That's my logic behind me going. That's why I go against what most libertarians do not like open primaries. I'm an exception. And it's because of gerrymandering. If you were to get rid of gerrymandering, I would change my opinion. Right? I think the system is broken. So with that same issue, I know you're saying getting rid of political parties. I get why you might think that's an exception. My worry is I feel like that is that in my view, I think maybe a bridge too far attacking the First Amendment. You should be able to associate with whom you want to. Now, hold on. It doesn't mean that I wouldn't make making ballot access a whole lot easier, right? So that I can make multiple political parties. In my perfect world, we'd have 330 million political parties, Jordan. That would be awesome if we had 330 million political parties. So I would rather have more political parties, at least 5 or 6 at a minimum, so that the two parties isn't so powerful, so I wouldn't want to abolish. So I'd rather change the system if I could. I'd like to change gerrymandering if I could, so I wouldn't want open primaries. So if we change the system, no, I don't want to go there, right? I feel like it's too far. I get why you would think that, and I'm with you on the concept. I feel like it's too far. I hope that answers your question at least. So, all right. Let's say here. Paula says Jussie Smollett cannot act and Zeldin cannot beat Hochul. That's good. Vote for Sharpe in New York. Vote Larry Sharpe for governor if you want Hochul out of office. Let's be clear about that. If you decide in New York State to vote for either the Republican or Democrat, you are going to get Kathy Hochul again. That's how it works. You're going to get Kathy Hochul again. Guaranteed. If you vote for me, you might still get Kathy Hochul, but you might not. The only person who could beat her is me, if anybody. If anybody can beat her, it's me. Or no one can. Either one. But if you vote for the Democrat and Republican and I come in third again, you don't really get much. I get a little more popular. I can push a little harder next time. It's nice. It's good. It's good. It's still good. I come in second, the entire state changes overnight. I come in first, the entire country changes overnight. That's why you should vote for me, even if I lose. Even if I lose, you still vote for me anyway. Because if you don't vote for me, you get Hochul. It's not like there's a other chance of anyone else winning. It's me or it's Hochul. Literally, there is no reason for the Republican to even be in the race. There's no reason to even be in the race. They're not going to win. They're wasting time, money, and energy. There's no need for the Republican to even be in the race. It's either me or it's Hochul. Because the Democrats in this state hate Zeldin. Did you see the hate he got? He got us attacked yesterday. Did you see the hate Democrats put on him? They weren't like, oh, we can't. They were like, good, you're a bad guy. They were piling on him. They hate him. Yeah, he's not going to go. It's not going to work. They're doing January 6th stuff here. And all the Democrats are watching it all day, all night. Of course they are. The Republican in this state voted to not accept the results of the 2020 election. How's that going to go over a 3-1 Democrat-Republican state? How's that going to go over? You think that's not going to be an ad to use against them? Come on. I mean, just to even imagine a Republican winning this state. A Republican hasn't won in this state anything in no statewide election in 20 years. It's insane. So yes. All right. Keep going. I'm sorry. Let's say here. Andrew says, I sure hope you run again in 2026. Hopefully I'll be running for re-election. You never know. Things happen. So yes. Yep. Morgan says, really found out who loves New York when the tough battles come. Thanks for staying, Larry. I'm here, brother. I'm here. Absolutely. Absolutely. William says, don't get me started on diamonds. It's a monopoly scam. A single company controls the price. De Beers or something. Yeah, you're right. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Yes. Dave looked it up. The name of it was called the Rip Van Winkle Caper. That is the name of the Twilight Zone episode from the 60s. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. The Rip Van Winkle Caper. That was the story when they There's other stuff in it, so I'm not really spoiling it. There's a line of things that happen, so it's interesting how it works. There's a part on human nature in it that you may enjoy, but that's the funny part about it. So anyway, it's a good one if you have a chance to check it out on whatever Netflix. So I don't know where Twilight Zone is. Is it on like Paramount Plus or something? Whatever it is. There we go. There we go. All right. And then Dave goes on from Wikipedia. They will sleep for approximately 100 years, figuring that by 1961. There we go. By 2061, the gold will no longer be hot, right? So it'd be past the statute of limitations, and they can sell it without arousing suspicion. There we go. Yes, that's their goal. Perfect. Yes. Jordan says, how do you enact gerrymandering without parties? How do you enact gerrymandering without parties? Well, you couldn't. Am I making, maybe I'm missing something up. I'm not sure where you're going with this. I'm confused, Jordan. Are you talking about if we got rid of parties, we by default get rid of gerrymandering? I think that's true. I feel like, though, getting rid of parties is the direct assault on the First Amendment, right? And I think people do it anyway. Like, people want to be together politically in groups that they agree with. I think they would do it anyway. But anyway, my point being, I think that's a direct assault. I'd rather just end gerrymandering, so then I wouldn't be worried about open primaries. You just have whatever primary you want. I wouldn't want to have open primaries necessarily if we got rid of gerrymandering. And I'd rather make it easier to have more and more parties, right? In other countries where the rules are easy, there are many other parties. It's easier to do it that way. And I think America, as aggressive as we are, we'd actually keep parties. We wouldn't just lean left and right. I think we would actually do it. That's my opinion. So we'll see. So, all right. William was on to say, it's not eliminating political parties, it's removing their power within government to allow people to associate with whom they want, but without undue power, that would be ideal. Bingo, William. Yes, like the parties decide what happens. The parties decide. For example, the parties decide things like the filibuster. That's party based, right? Things like that. That should be party based. It should be whether it makes sense or not. It should be party based, right? You should be picking the filibuster not because your party is in charge or isn't in charge, wants to use it or doesn't want to use it. It should be because it makes sense or it doesn't, right? That's what you should be using for the filibuster. That part, that concept, right? The Speaker of the House decides what's voted on or not. How is that in the Constitution? That's not in the Constitution. One person decides what we vote on all of that. No, they made it up. Parties have made that up. You're right. It's the party rules that make sense. 100%. Yes. Rory goes on, too many people put their party above their country. Yes, yes, and yes. I tell people my grandfather has voted Democrat every election since he died. I like that. I like that. See? He's dedicated. Nice, Rory. Dedicated. Yes. But yes, I agree completely, right? Not that your parties are bad. I mean, some people like parties, people don't. I get it. But in reality, if the parties have so much power and all you care about, there is a video by a comedian. I had him on my show before, Ryan Long. Ryan Long is a great comedian, and he did a video, and he was joking, but man, it was good. It was about the idea of two people who live in the same apartment, and they decided that they will decide their personality based upon what Trump thinks. One of them says, whatever Trump likes, I like. The other one says, whatever Trump likes, I hate. And they just wait for Trump to say something, and then that's their view now. So if Trump likes football, one guy loves football. Trump hates football, likes football, the other guy hates football. And then as Trump changes his mind, they change their minds. And of course, it's a joke, but for some people, Rory, their parties like that. Oh, the Democrats support this, I support it. Democrats support this, I hate it. When you should be deciding whether you hate something or support something based upon yourself. But you're right. I gotta find that one too. I'm giving you. I'll put something in maybe the comments later. So yes, absolutely. Light says, Larry, why don't you build a legal team to sue the state for electoral regulations? Do you think I haven't? That's literally who I'm paying. And it's not easy to get. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm up against the state. Not easy. Yes. How else are they going to win next week? Yes. Absolutely. Yes. So, all right. Let's see here. Ken says letting independents choose to vote on libertarian ballot might be the best way to get free exposure. That could be something. That could be something. Absolutely. Yeah. You can do that. Of course. Brian says, wasn't it George Washington who expressed his concern for our country if we only had two political parties in power? I think it was his farewell address. Yes, you're correct, Brian. Well done. I agree. He warned us, and he warned us about foreign entanglements. We didn't listen. We did not listen. Absolutely. Christian says, please ask governor abolish occupational licensing certificate of need laws. See, there's a one on that one, Christian. I agree with you completely on this, but I may not be able to because of law. However, there is a way around this. What we can do is instead say, okay, any attempt or any request for certificate of need is automatically approved for free. Do you see how we get around that? Because there may be a law in place that I would have to literally get rid of or ignore to get rid of it. Depending upon the license or certificate, sometimes it has to be done by the legislature. So I won't do that. Leave it in place. But how do I enforce it? Well, I enforce it. Usually the governor, it's on a board usually, and the governor picks at least 3 out of the 5 people on the board. So I pick 3 people and I say, here you are. Here's your rules. Anyone who applies for the license gets it for free. Rubber stamp. So I can turn, some of them I can abolish, some of them I can't. Those that I can't, rubber stamp. So I think that could work also. So different ways of doing it. Abolishing isn't as easy as one might think if it's already in the law, or sometimes even in the Constitution, depending upon what we're talking about in New York State. New York State puts stuff in the Constitution. I don't even know what it puts in the Constitution. It is crazy. So I'm with you, but there are other ways of doing that, if that makes any sense. So yes. The Manic Knight says, Larry should go on the PBD podcast again. Why don't you email him and tell him that? I think you're right. Yes. Absolutely. I think you're right. Yes. So, all right. Let's do this. Scientific Libertarian says, Justin Moss, Larry Sharpe 2024. I'm open to the idea. Let him decide what he wants. That's all. Absolutely. He'll decide. Yes. Oh, Dave has the Twilight Zone DVD connection. That's why. Thank you, Dave. There we go. Thank you. That's why. Good. Perfect. That makes sense. Yes, that makes sense. So Jordan says, I understand your position. I suppose I just feel everyone has slightly different goals and therefore do not naturally sign with any party. I think that's true also, Jordan, which is why not only would I want to make creating parties easier, ballot access easier, but also changing your party affiliation easier. So, right now with your part of your life, you might be like, who I lean closest to? I care about these issues, so I lean closer to Democrats today. So you could be a Democrat for, whatever, a year or something. And, now, what, I lean close to Libertarian now. Boom. Or you might go, Libertarians aren't right enough for me. I want to be a hardcore, ANCAP. You might have an ANCAP party. I think fluidity, in my view, would be a much stronger way of doing it, because I think most people, and I don't think everyone, but I think most people shift in their life. Different things that are important to them, that they value. They learn things. They change their mind. They're affected by things negatively and positively. So if you had many parties, you might shift. You might be a forward guy this year and a libertarian guy next year, an ANCAP guy a year after that, or you might stick with the party for many years and move on. So, and I think if we had more fluidity, it would be better. We wouldn't need gerrymandering. We wouldn't even have gerrymandering, and we wouldn't need open primaries if we had a more fluid system. And I feel like Americans are fluid in that regard. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like we could be fluid if it wasn't so left, right, good versus evil. That's what I feel. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Patty says, look at what people will pay for Barbie. Oh, yes. Star Wars memorabilia. Oh, yeah. Pokemon cards. Dungeons and Dragons originals. Yep. People agree upon value. Yep. Barter system prove that. 100%. Yes. Thank you, Patty. Absolutely. And why does the government have to be involved? When I want to sell my Star Wars Luke Skywalker doll or whatever it is, the government doesn't be involved with that. I'll swap it for whatever, a Darth Vader or something, or whatever is the cool thing of the day. I don't know what the cool things are now, but whatever the cool thing is. So yes, whatever that thing is, I think that would help. So yes. All right. Gene says, my son told me about you on the PBD podcast. I turned around immediately. Oh, great. I'm so glad. Thank you. I love that. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Yes. William goes, that system you're describing for political parties, I want for unions, especially public sector ones. I cannot tell you how much I agree with that, William. People think that because I'm a libertarian, somehow I'm anti-union. I am not anti-union. I go to the same thing I talked to Jordan about with unions. Unions are the right for workers to assemble with whomever they want to assemble and affiliate with. They should be able to. My issue is when it's a monopoly union. That's bogus. You should be able to have as many unions as you want for different people who care about different things. And you shouldn't be forced to be on it. It shouldn't be, it's a union shop or not. That part I don't like. But of course, you should be able to unionize if you want to. Of course, unions should have power if they want to. Of course, they should. If you're a worker and you want to get together and do collective bargaining, why should the government step in? The problem is because of our past. Our past government was so aggressively anti-union, we were literally sending the army in to shoot people, right? And unions were so aggressive, and it was literally street fights. Because of that history, our unions have become so tough that way. And now because of the way we give out money, unions back people like there's no tomorrow and put tons of money into things because of pensions and such. So our system makes it almost impossible. We have to change our system and deal with our history to make unions what they should be, which is, to your point, if you're just starting, you may not want the same union as someone who, who's been working in the field for 20 years may want. You may want a separate union. Different things are important to you. And that's okay, right? Good unions should deal with good people and should actually be to a point where they push out bad people. Right now, most unions, sadly, spend 90% of the time dealing with 10% of the bad apples versus 90% of the time with 90% of the good workers. So I agree completely. Guys, as I always tell you, if you want to, please like, comment, and share. I hope you're valuing the conversation back and forth. I hope you like the idea that we're doing another AMA, which I haven't done in a while. I know I've been crazy busy trying to make things happen. Next week is our big week, so hopefully I'll have some good news for you next week. If you want to support me, please, LarrySharpe.com/donate, and you should, because no matter what, you'll be able to vote for me in November. Let's hope the best way. We'll do that no matter what. Of course, we do need help. We've got to push forward. The legal team we talked about, please do that. If you'd rather have some merch doing it, LarrySharpe.com/shop is always good. Join my Discord, Larry Sharpe Discord, that link right there. Helpful, and support the show. World's Smallest Political Quiz. Our sponsor, theadvocates.org. Click that link. Share that link. Everyone's helpful, and it's free, which is the best part. And of course, like, comment, and share. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for this evening. I appreciate all the time that you give me. I appreciate it so much, and all the support. And I will see you all